Russians do not mess around.
No.
One particular Russian woman is now on trial for raping 10 men.
What's with Russian women?
No. She's not kidding. This woman is serious. What she would do is she would go to bars and she would meet men, right? And she would invite them back to her place. Now, from the reports, she sounds like an attractive woman, so the men would go, right? They would go back to her place and she would give them like a roofie. And it would cause them to fall asleep for up to 24 hours. While they were asleep, she would wrap like a rope around their penis so it stays erect. And then she would rape them.
That's unbelievable.
That's unbelievable. First of all, I didn't know that would keep a penis erect.
I didn't know that either. Never tried it. But obviously David Carradine believed in it. I mean, no disrespect, but I mean, I say that because apparently some dudes do that. I mean, that's a way of keeping hard.
Right.
So, and while you were passed out on roofies, who knew that? Okay, but I guess she learned through hard experience. Hard experience. Sorry. Anyway, there's a serious story. She did this to 10 guys?
She did this to 10 guys. They would wake up 24 hours later in the hospital, and they would have just severe pains in their genitals, and they had poisoning from the drugs that they were given and everything. And it's funny because there are 10 victims, right? One of them refuses to press charges. And this is what he says. He says he likes hot women, and he thought the assault was great.
And that's the thing that blew me away. Apparently, this is a hot brunette who's doing this.
Right.
And, that guy said, hey, I just wish I was awake for it.
Right.
You didn't have to drug me. And this thing, the drug she gave is actually a little stronger than roofies. Mm-hmm. And some poison still remains in your system afterwards. So obviously she's going to get prosecuted to no end here. You would imagine 10 rapes. I mean, these are like before we used to have a debate about whether you could rape men. Mm-hmm. This is rape.
Yes,
There's no
totally.
question because they're not awake and you tied a rope around their penis and you poison them and pass out. I mean, if ever there was no question, this is it. And and this is the second story we've done of a Russian woman raping men.
Right.
In the same way.
But remember, we did a story about rape in Russia in general. And isn't it very common?
Sexual harassment was, and sometimes sexual assault in the workplace was very, very common in Russia in that study that we had done earlier. Mm-hmm. But this is a whole nother level, And I guess I hope it's not a phenomenon that catches on. Mm-hmm. And I don't see why they needed to do it. In the hairdresser case where she got the assailant that was trying to rob her, kicked his ass, and then raped him, he's like, look, I was down for it for the first couple of times, right? And then she raped him over and over, if you remember, until he was exhausted or couldn't function anymore.
Right.
And in this case, again, if you're a hot Russian woman, you don't need the roofies. You'll be surprised how many people will say, da.
But I think maybe this is what her fetish is. Because you know how people have crazy fetishes. Maybe her fetish is to drug men and sleep with them, tie ropes around their penises.
Yeah. The thing that drives me even crazier about it, and I keep going back to it, and I know this is wrong, but I keep thinking, really, is she going to get punished as much as men who would do this? Because to me, a man who does that, put away for life. Okay? Right. A woman who does that, I'm still struggling, and I know I'm wrong. Mm-hmm. And I think to myself, yeah, right? But they all came back to our house already. You see what I'm saying? That's why it's so unnecessary and gratuitous. Believe me, if you're a halfway attractive Russian woman and they came back to your house, all you had to say was you were open for business. You didn't have to go to the super roofies. Man, this world is full of crazy, crazy people. Mm-hmm. And apparently a decent number of them live in Russia. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying. Much love.
Watch more clips at theyoungturks.com.